Stop. If you're telling yourself, "I've got it all figured out with money," you might already be building a wall against the very wealth you seek. I know how that sounds. Paradoxical, almost unfair. But I've seen it too many times. The smarter we try to be with money, the tighter our hands close around it. And when your hands are closed, nothing new can enter. Before we go deeper, I want you to do something small, almost symbolic. In the comments below, write a phrase that captures where you are right now in your relationship with money. Maybe it's, "I thought I was smart with it, but I'm still not free." Or, "I know the numbers, but I still feel lack." Why do this? Because once you put words to something, you make it real. And what's real can finally change. You see, this isn't another conversation about budgets, investments, or saving strategies. This is about the invisible architecture of wealth, the spiritual laws that shape the flow of energy we call money. Hidden within Jewish wisdom is a law that very few people ever hear about. It teaches that being too smart, too calculating, too certain of your control can actually repel prosperity. I learned this lesson the hard way. For years I studied every financial principle, memorized every number, built spreadsheets that predicted decades ahead. I believed intellect was the ultimate shield against failure. Yet something strange happened. The more control I had, the less flow I felt. My money stayed, but it never grew. Opportunities brushed past me, just out of reach. I was smart, but stuck. And that's when it hit me. Intelligence without surrender becomes arrogance disguised as safety. I wasn't being responsible. I was being afraid to trust anything beyond my own mind. Maybe you felt that too, that uneasy balance between confidence and control, between feeling on top of it and quietly sensing something missing. You can't name it, but you can feel it. Like a ceiling you can't see, but somehow keeps you from rising higher. Jewish mystics say that every blessing enters through an open vessel. The moment you declare, "I've got it all figured out," you seal that vessel shut. And that's exactly what being too smart does. It replaces wonder with certainty, flow with rigidity, faith with formulas. So what if the real secret isn't in mastering the money, but in mastering the energy that moves it? What if the people who seem to attract prosperity effortlessly aren't more intelligent but more aligned? Because there's a law, ancient, quiet, but exact, that governs how wealth responds to our state of mind. And once you understand that law, you'll never look at your bank account the same way again. Let me show you where it all begins. There's a teaching that says, "In the beginning was the Word." And that's not poetry. It's a principle. In Jewish tradition, words are not just sounds. They are seeds. Every phrase you speak about money plants something in the unseen. Some seeds grow into fruit, others into thorns. And the tragedy is that most people keep watering their thorns without realizing it. For a long time, I did the same. I thought that being disciplined, logical, and well-read was the path to abundance. I believed in strategy, not surrender. But Jewish wisdom sees something different. It sees money as a living current, not a possession to be controlled, but a river to be guided. My great-grandfather used to say, "When you speak about your money, you speak to your money." As a child, I didn't understand what he meant. He wasn't rich, but he was never poor either. Somehow he always had enough, more than enough, even when logic said he shouldn't. He didn't study markets or calculate compound interest. He blessed his coins. He thanked God for each opportunity to give. And he saw every gain not as proof of his cleverness, but as a test of his humility. I used to laugh at that. I thought he was naive. But looking back, I see he understood something deeper, something I had forgotten. In the language of the mystics, every word vibrates. Every statement about your finances sends a signal, either expand or contract. When you say, "I already know how money works," you send the vibration of closure. When you say, "I'm open to learning more," you open the gate. That's the hidden contrast. Intellect versus openness. One builds walls, the other builds channels. Being smart about money isn't wrong. It's half the story. The danger is when intellect becomes isolation. When you think the formula is enough, you forget the force that gives the formula life. And here's the paradox. Those who see money only as math often lose its meaning. Those who see it as sacred energy, something that reflects who you are becoming, tend to attract more of it because they treat it as a mirror, not a trophy. This isn't mysticism for the sake of mystery. It's psychology with a soul. Because what you believe about money is what your nervous system acts on. Your words shape your habits shape your results. So pause and ask yourself, what do you call your money? A burden? A blessing? A battle? Because that name will echo in every financial choice you make. And as we go deeper, I'll show you the first hidden block, the silent habit that turns smart people into their own obstacle. It's subtle. It hides inside good intentions, and it starts with 3 words most of us say every single day. The first hidden block is this: I'm fine. Those 2 little words sound harmless, but they carry a quiet curse. Every time you say, I'm fine, you tell the universe that you have enough, that nothing needs to change, nothing more should come. And so, nothing does. For years, that was my script. Whenever someone asked about money, I smiled, nodded, and said it automatically. I'm fine. It sounded strong, controlled, mature. But underneath that calm surface, there was fear. The fear of admitting that I wanted more, that I needed help, that I wasn't where I thought I'd be. Jewish wisdom teaches that words are vessels. When you fill those vessels with false contentment, you block divine flow. It's like pretending your cup is full when it's actually half empty. The universe doesn't pour into a cup that claims to be overflowing. My great-grandfather once told me a story about a neighbor named Eli. Eli was proud, hardworking, brilliant, and self-reliant. He believed that needing anything from others was weakness. When asked about his business, he always said, I'm fine. Then one winter, everything changed. A shipment was delayed, clients vanished, and within 3 days, his shop was empty. My great-grandfather visited him bringing food and warmth. Eli finally broke down and said, I kept saying I was fine, until I wasn't. That story haunted me, because I realized I was Eli, clever, capable, and quietly collapsing. The logic is simple but painful. When you deny your need, you deny your growth. The same pride that says, I'm fine, is the same wall that keeps blessings out. Think of it this way. When you tell yourself you already have enough, your mind stops searching for opportunity. Your heart stops signaling for expansion. Spiritually, you go numb. Psychologically, you stagnate. In the Talmud, there's a line that says, a full vessel cannot receive. And yet most of us walk through life pretending to be full, out of fear of seeming empty. But emptiness isn't shameful. It's sacred. It's the space through which new things enter. When I finally stopped saying, I'm fine, something shifted. My work began to breathe again. Ideas came back. Clients returned. And strangely, I didn't have to chase them. They came. It was as if the act of honesty itself had reopened a door that had long been shut. So here's a question to hold. Where in your life are you saying, I'm fine, when you're not? Where are you pretending to be full when you're quietly starving? Because the first step toward wealth, real, living, flowing wealth, is the courage to say, I'm not fine, but I'm ready. And that's where the transformation begins. But there's another block, one even more dangerous because it looks like success. There's a line in the Talmud that whispers like a warning. Be careful when you speak of fullness, for the one who calls himself full receives no more. That's the hidden law. The moment you believe you've arrived, the flow stops. It's not punishment, it's alignment. The universe responds to the vibration you give. When you say, I've got this figured out, you tell creation that your story is finished. And finished stories don't grow. Jewish wisdom doesn't reject money. It sanctifies it. It teaches that wealth is divine energy in material form, a sacred trust. You are not its owner. You are its steward. And the way you speak about it reveals whether you're open to be trusted with more. I used to think faith and finance were separate worlds. Logic belonged to money. spirit belonged to prayer. But then I began to see how deeply they intertwine. Every transaction is spiritual. Every dollar you earn is a messenger of your inner state. When you say I'm fine or I already know what to do, you shut the gates of growth. But when you whisper, teach me, those gates swing wide open. The sages compare the soul to a cup. Wisdom fills it, but pride seals it shut. Only humility can make it overflow again. Let me make this less abstract. Think of money like water. If you pour it into a jar that's already full, it spills. But if you keep a little space at the top, just enough to say, I'm ready for more, the flow continues naturally. I learned this when I lost my first big client. I panicked, rewrote proposals, tried to fix the numbers, but nothing worked. Out of desperation, I stopped and whispered, God, I don't know what to do. Show me how to see differently. That night, I felt an idea surface, a quiet one. It wasn't a strategy, it was a shift. I called someone I hadn't spoken to in years. That call led to a project that paid more than I'd lost. It wasn't logic, it was law. Because the law says, when you make room, you make way. Now pause for a moment. Look at your life. Where have you stopped asking? Where do you feel full, satisfied enough not to seek, not to stretch? That's where your flow might be blocked. The most spiritual act you can do for your finances is to admit, I don't know everything. That sentence is not weakness, it's a key. So as you breathe in now, imagine making space. Imagine telling your life, I'm ready for more. Because something profound happens when you mean it. And yet, even when we begin to open again, another trap waits quietly, disguised as victory itself. The second hidden block hides inside a smile, the moment you think you've already won. It's that quiet exhale after a raise, a good quarter, a profitable year. You look at your results and whisper, finally, I made it. And in that instant you begin to fall asleep. I call it the illusion of arrival, the belief that the climb is over. You stop learning, you stop stretching, you start protecting what you have instead of expanding who you are. Jewish wisdom warns against this illusion. The sages say that the righteous are never still. Even in heaven they rise from strength to strength. Because movement is the proof of life. The moment you stop moving, you begin to decline, slowly, invisibly, but inevitably. I learned this lesson the hard way. After my first big financial success, I let my guard down. I felt untouchable, wise, secure. I had plans, investments, routines. I thought I'd unlocked the code. But slowly things began to shift, not in the numbers, but in my energy. I wasn't curious anymore. I wasn't grateful. I was managing, not creating. My life became maintenance. One night I heard my great-grandfather's voice in my memory. He used to say, a crocodile that sleeps becomes someone's bag. It was his way of saying, the moment you stop moving, life moves past you. At first I laughed. Then I realized, that was me, sleeping crocodile, proud, motionless, unaware that time was already carving me into yesterday's story. Psychologically, this complacency is seductive. Success releases dopamine, the brain's way of rewarding you. But dopamine doesn't know when to stop. It convinces you that what you've done is enough. Spiritually, that feeling becomes a message. I have completed my task. And the divine flow pauses, waiting for you to wake up again. The Talmud says, the wise learn from all men. That means the moment you believe you've outgrown the need to learn, you've stopped being wise. In wealth, in spirit, in life, the humble keep moving. I realize that prosperity isn't something you reach, it's something you walk with. It's not a mountain you climb once. It's a rhythm you learn to dance to, again and again. When I started seeing money not as a goal but as a current, everything shifted. I replaced the phrase, I've made it, with I'm becoming. Because that's what abundance really is. A state of becoming, not being. So ask yourself now, where in your life have you slowed down, thinking you've already arrived? Where have you mistaken comfort for completion? Because just beyond that comfort zone, something powerful is waiting. A truth so subtle, it hides in plain sight. And this next truth is the most dangerous of all, because it wears the mask of peace. The third hidden block is the most dangerous one because it feels safe. It sounds calm. It sounds responsible. It's the quiet voice that says, "Everything's fine." That phrase is a lullaby, soft, familiar, and fatal to growth. It convinces you that no movement is needed, no risk is worth taking, no change is necessary. And yet, beneath that comfort, something in your soul begins to suffocate. I remember when I used to repeat it daily. Everything's fine. My work was steady, my bills were paid, my savings grew slowly. I told myself I should be grateful, and I was. But deep down, a question burned quietly. Is this all there is? Jewish wisdom calls that feeling holy dissatisfaction. It's not greed, it's divine restlessness, the part of your soul that refuses to settle for survival when it was born for expansion. But I ignored it. I silenced it with routines, meetings, and polite gratitude. I thought peace meant stability. I thought ambition was arrogance. Until one day I realized something terrifying. Fine had become my prison. The Torah doesn't celebrate being fine. It celebrates becoming more. The Creator didn't stop at light. He kept speaking new worlds into existence. Each word was an act of courage, a refusal to settle. When you say, "Everything's fine," you imitate completion, but your spirit knows it's a lie. Because life isn't static. Energy either expands or contracts. If it's not moving forward, it's slowly decaying. There's a study from an Israeli university that found a 12% drop in personal income among people who consistently described their financial life as fine. They weren't poor, they were stagnant. Their belief in fine froze their innovation, their willingness to ask, their hunger to grow. And that's the paradox. The phrase that seems peaceful is actually the signal of decline. Fine is not gratitude. It's surrender disguised as contentment. When I finally admitted to myself that fine wasn't enough, it felt like betrayal. Betrayal of the comfort I had built, of the calm I had promised myself. But almost immediately something shifted. Ideas began to stir again. Life moved. Because the truth is, nothing is ever truly fine. Everything is either forming or fading. So I began to replace that phrase. Instead of saying, "Everything's fine," I started saying, "Everything's unfolding." It was subtle, but powerful. It turned my life from a statement into a process, from a full stop into a comma. And that's when I understood. Growth doesn't come from chaos, it comes from honesty. So if you've been whispering, "Everything's fine," maybe it's time to whisper something else, something alive. Because there is a new formula, simple, sacred, and shockingly effective, that opens the gates of flow once more. 3 words, 3 vibrations, the keys to prosperity itself. Here it is, the turning point. After stripping away all the noise, all the cleverness, all the masks of control, what remains is astonishingly simple. 3 words. That's all it takes to reopen the gates of flow. Thank you, growing. When I first began saying it, it felt strange. Too simple. Too soft. My mind wanted complexity, a formula, a ritual, a secret code. But Jewish wisdom often hides its greatest power in simplicity. These 3 words contain the full arc of abundance: gratitude, action, and expansion. Let me explain. Thank you anchors the energy of gratitude. It's the acknowledgement that what you have is already enough to create more. Gratitude doesn't mean complacency, it means alignment. When you thank before receiving, you prepare the vessel to hold more. You stop seeing money as proof of worth and start seeing it as partnership. Then comes growing. Not grown, not complete. Growing. It's movement. It's humility in motion. It says, I'm still learning, I'm still becoming, I'm still open. The very act of declaring growth keeps your energy alive. And life, in turn, responds. Together, those words are a declaration of power without arrogance, wealth without fear, confidence without closure. Every morning now, before touching my phone or opening my laptop, I whisper it aloud. Thank you, growing. At first, nothing happened, but within a few days, something subtle shifted. My tone softened when I spoke to clients. My mind stopped racing over numbers. I began seeing new patterns, unexpected connections, fresh opportunities. It was as though the current had begun to move again, quietly, but undeniably. The Kabbalists say that every blessing seeks a word to enter through. These words became that entry point for me. They hold a rhythm: gratitude to open, growth to sustain, grace to expand. If you want to test it, set an alarm on your phone for 9 o'clock every morning. When it rings, stop whatever you're doing and say, "Thank you, growing." Don't ask for anything, just say it, feel it. Watch what happens when your words begin to shift your inner vibration. You might notice coincidences, a call, an idea, a door opening that you didn't even know existed. That's not magic. That's alignment. Because when you stop being too smart and start being awake, life starts speaking back. There's no arrogance in these words, no fear of lack, no pretense of control, only flow. And soon you'll begin to see how this shift doesn't just change your emotions, it changes results. Because real transformation is never theoretical. It's lived, breathed, and witnessed in the everyday. And I've seen it, in others, in myself, in people who once believed they were stuck forever. Let me tell you their stories, the ones that prove the law is real. Her name was Lucia. Everyone in our neighborhood called her Dona Lucia, the woman who always smiled even when her life was falling apart. She owned a tiny bakery that smelled of cinnamon and courage. But for years, she struggled, never quite poor, never quite prosperous. Just fine. When I asked her once how business was going, she gave me the same answer I had used for years. It's fine. And there it was again, that subtle, invisible ceiling. Months later, when I began learning about this hidden law of words, I told her what I'd discovered. I shared the phrase that had changed my own energy. "Thank you, growing." She laughed at first. "You think words can fix my oven?" she teased. But I insisted she try it, not as superstition, but as a new rhythm. I told her, "Say it every morning before you open the bakery. Don't beg, don't plan, just align." 3 weeks later, she called me crying. Not because something had gone wrong, but because her little shop was suddenly flooded with customers. A local blogger had written about her bread. New faces lined up every morning. Her husband, who had been skeptical, began to whisper the same 3 words under his breath. She told me, "It feels like God remembered me." But I knew the truth. It wasn't that God had forgotten. It was that she had stopped speaking in a way he could respond to. And that's the essence of this wisdom. When your words change, your world rearranges. I've seen it again and again, in entrepreneurs, teachers, single parents. People who stopped saying, "I'm managing," and started saying, "I'm growing." They didn't suddenly win the lottery. They didn't find shortcuts, but their decision shifted. Their confidence softened into trust. Their effort aligned with flow. Before the shift, they were working against life, chasing, controlling, calculating. After, they began to work with it. It's not magic, it's resonance. You attract the opportunities that match your state of being. And when your state vibrates gratitude and growth, stagnation simply cannot stay. I remember one man, a quiet accountant, who told me he wrote "Thank you, growing" on a sticky note and placed it inside his wallet. Every time he opened it, he'd smile. Within a month, he was offered a promotion he hadn't even applied for. He said, "It's like I finally looked open enough for life to invest in me." That's what this is about. Not control, not cleverness, but openness. So, when I tell you to say those 3 words, it's not superstition. It's surrender, structured, deliberate, sacred. And if you start to wonder why it works, or what spiritual logic makes it so consistent, the answer lies deeper, in the philosophy that shaped it all. Because at its core, this isn't just about money. It's about creation itself. In the beginning, God spoke, and the world unfolded from sound. That's not myth. That's the foundation. Jewish wisdom teaches that speech is the bridge between thought and reality. What we speak, we shape. What we withhold, we postpone. Money obeys the same law. It's not merely an economic exchange. It's linguistic, energetic, creative. When you say, "I'm growing," you echo the very rhythm of creation. An unfolding, a continuous becoming. When you say, "I'm fine," you silence that rhythm. You stop creating. That's why the Torah describes wealth not as a possession but as a reflection, a mirror of alignment between the material and the spiritual. The words you choose every day are brushstrokes on that mirror. If you speak from fear, it clouds. If you speak from gratitude, it clears. When I began to live this truth, I saw how precise it was. Every time I used words of control, I must, I need, I can't risk, my life tightened. Projects stalled, clients withdrew, my energy grew heavy. But when I softened my language, I'm open, I'm guided, I'm growing, movement returned, the current flowed again. And that's when I realized something profound. Abundance isn't a reward. It's a response. God doesn't withhold prosperity to test us. We withhold it from ourselves through the words we choose. We create scarcity by naming it, and we invite wealth by blessing it. In the book of Proverbs it says, "Death and life are in the power of the tongue." The sages add, "So too are poverty and wealth," because every statement you make about money is a prayer, conscious or unconscious. This isn't just philosophy, it's design. The structure of creation itself is linguistic. Speech precedes form. That means the words you repeat, even casually, become the architecture of your reality. So I began to treat my words like sacred currency. Every sentence was an investment, every thought, a deposit or withdrawal. When I said money is difficult, I was spending faith on struggle. When I said money flows easily toward purpose, I was funding expansion. And over time, my results began to match my vocabulary. That's the law in motion. Words create worlds. So let's bring it together. The 3 blocks, the 1 formula, the living rhythm. Block 1, the intellect that forgets surrender. Block 2, the comfort that kills momentum. Block 3, the lie of fine. The correction, gratitude, humility, and growth. These aren't abstract virtues, they're levers of creation. And every time you speak them, you turn the mechanism of abundance a little further open. But don't just understand this. Test it. Speak differently for 7 days. Record what happens. Because something remarkable occurs when you commit to new language. The world begins to listen. And just when you think you've discovered all there is to say, there's one more layer, deeper and more mysterious. The one that will change how you attract wealth forever. So here we are, the circle complete. We began with control and ended with creation. We started believing we were too smart for divine laws, and we discovered that wisdom without surrender is blindness disguised as clarity. Let's breathe this truth once more. Do not say, "I'm fine." Do not hide behind competence or stability. Speak differently. Speak life. Say, "Thank you, growing." Say it when money comes, and say it when it doesn't. Say it when you feel blessed, and say it when you feel lost. Because those words don't describe your situation. They create your situation. That's the hidden law of Jewish wisdom. Words are not labels. They're builders. The same force that spoke light into the void listens every time you speak about your own lack or abundance. When you say thank you, you invite grace. When you say growing, you invite movement. And when you combine them, you step back into alignment with the sacred rhythm of creation itself. I've seen people transform by living this law, not just in wealth, but in peace, in purpose, in relationships. The moment they stopped trying to be too smart and started being sincere, doors opened. Life started cooperating again. So as you finish this, let me remind you, your financial life is not a spreadsheet. It's a prayer written in numbers. And every word you attach to it, every sigh, every complaint, every blessing, becomes its melody. If you want to shift your wealth, shift your words. Begin today. Whisper those 3 words out loud. Write them somewhere you'll see every morning. Speak them until they become the background hum of your being. And if you dare, share them. Share this message with 3 people you care about. The ones who seem too smart for faith, too rational for miracles, too tired to believe that money can flow differently. Tell them that wealth isn't a formula, it's a frequency. Before we part, I want to leave you with a blessing, one passed down through generations of seekers and builders, dreamers and doers. May the Lord bless you and keep you. May He make His face shine upon you and be gracious to you. May He lift His countenance upon you and give you peace.